This is a poem by Joseph Green, titled On Mr. B's Singing and Hymn of His Own Composing. In David's Psalms an oversight Biles found one morning at his tea. Alas, why did not David write a proper psalm to sing at sea? Thus ruminating on his seat, ambitious thoughts at length prevailed. The bard determined to complete the part in which the prophet failed. A while he paused and stroked his muse, then, taking up his tuneful pen, wrote a few stanzas for the use of his seafaring brethren. The task performed, the bard content, well chosen was each flowing word. On a short voyage himself he went, to hear it read and sung on board. What ecstasies of joy appear, what pleasure and unknown delights thrill the vain poet's soul to hear others repeat the things he writes. Most aged Christians do aver their credit sure we may rely on. In former times that after prayer they used to sing a song of Zion. Our modern parson having prayed, unless loud fame our faith beguiles, sat down, took out his book, and said, "Let's sing a song of Mather Byles." As soon as he began to read, their heads the assembly downward hung. Yet he with boldness did proceed, and thus he read, and thus they sung. The hymn. With vast amazement we survey the wonders of the deep, where mackerel swim and porpoise play, and crabs and lobsters creep. Fish of all kinds inhabit there, and throng the dark abode. There haddock, hake, and flounders are, and eels and perch and cod. From raging winds and tempests free, so smooth that as you pass, the shining surface seems to be a piece of Bristol glass. But when the winds tempestuous rise, and foaming billows swell, the vessel mounts above the skies, then lower sinks than hell. Our brains the tottering motion feel, and quickly we become giddy as new-dropped calves, and reel like Indians drunk with rum. What praises then are due, that we thus far are safely got, a Mariskagan tribe to see, and tribe of Penobscot. It's a curious poem, witty as witticisms must have gone in the day amongst his audience of white men and women, presumably. The poem is somewhat marred by the penultimate mention of Indians drunk with rum. I'm reminded of Longfellow's referring to the folding of tents like the Arabs and softly stealing away, referring to the cares of the day in his poem. What is the name of that poem? You know the one anyhow. I've taped it somewhere. But in the Longfellow poem, the reference is not odious as Joseph Green's reference is, because he's making mock of the Indians drunk with rum. We have a lot of historical insight that we can bring to a poem like this. And so when I read poem the first time, I understood that joke or that mocking disparagement in the penultimate stanza. But what confused me then was when in the very last stanza he goes on to mention the tribe names, the Amerascagan and Penobscot tribes. And I don't quite still follow his reasoning there. Is he saying that what praises then are due, that we thus far are safely got, to see ourselves become like the Amerascagan tribe and the Penobscot tribe, so drunk-like? I don't know if that's his intention or exactly what it is. It turns out not to wear very well with time, which is a shame because Joseph Green obviously is a poet of some talent. We never know what we have written will reveal our own blind spots to posterity. They are there. We just can't see them ourselves.